Okay, this is a situation where we got a bracket that is very rusted. Problem is, if you look, the bracket, these two bolts are very rusted. So trying to remove this bracket, we might end up with broken bolts, and this is under a frame of a car. And here, if we look, there is like a plate, it's like a steel plate that clips on a sheet metal to like a nut plate kind of thing. So we're gonna remove this nut plate, and here it's cracked. It's a bit hard to see, but the aluminum here, this part, is cracked. So we're gonna fix this thing in place. We're gonna make a new one, and we're gonna put it in place with pop rivets. So this way we won't have to deal with these and take a chance to break anything. So first step would be to remove this nut plate. So we're gently gonna open it up with a flat screwdriver, trying to preserve as much as we can what's underneath. So that's the first step. So if we look at it, there was no way to save it. Bracket is very bad, totally broke. The nut plate, here goes the nut plate thing. It's really rusted and it's in one piece. So gonna have to look at it more carefully. If we can save it, which I doubt, then it's gonna be a matter of fixing this aluminum bracket. As we can see, the nut plate is totally a waste. This is gonna be almost impossible to try to save that thing. So you can see it was in a very bad condition. So the bracket that is rusted under the car is on an L shape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this pattern here, around here. So this is gonna be the top of it, where I'm gonna make a hole for the nut plate, and I'm gonna fold it along these two lines, and I'm gonna be able to tack those with pop rivets to the bracket that is already in place but rusted. This is aluminum plate. It's 0.025 inch thick. That's what it looks like. Now, in order to make the fold, I want to get a radius, because there's a radius on the original part. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for a piece, some component that's got a round, like this thing here has got a radius. So I can put it like that and tap it with a hammer, gentle, tap it around here while holding it in place. So maybe plastic is not that great enough. I got a engine crane that's got the radius on the beams. That's what I'm gonna use. This is where I'm gonna use to tap this thing. That's pretty good. The other one, obviously you cannot do it like that, so you need to find another round piece, probably like more like this one here, holding it in place and then tapping it. You can also tap it on the edge of a beam like that, or like that, or like that. One tab is a bit longer than the other one, which is fine for now. I'm just gonna trim it. I might have to trim the other one as well. Also, the square might be a bit too big. If it's too big, I'm gonna trim it along this line here, cut it here, and cut it here also. So I'm gonna go under the car with a marker to see how it fits, and mark some adjustment if it's needed. So if we look at the bracket, the way it goes, it's gotta go like this. Two sides goes like this. Okay, we can see that the radius I made and the radius that is there is not the same. This one is too small. So if it's too small, it's not gonna sit in there properly. So I need to make a bigger radius. Also, the other thing is, if I look at this tab here, the longest one is obviously too long. So I'm gonna make it shorter as the shorter one is. That should be better. In order to make a bigger radius, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it, it's a bit hard to show you, but I'm gonna put it a bit outside and tap it still. So that's what I'm gonna do at first, and then I'm gonna have to re-straighten the whole thing, because when I'm gonna do that, this tab is gonna go inside like that. So I'm gonna have to take the whole thing and re-straighten it back to 90 degrees. So that would be like it is right now. Putting it back a little. You can see it makes a bigger radius. See here, it's like too sharp, it's not smoothing up, so I'm gonna just tap it here. It's a bit better. Not perfect, but a bit better. So that's about it. Let's try it again. So when I put the bracket in, I cut the tab. So they're both the same length, approximately. When I put the piece in there, if I put it very well fit on one end, and I get to see that it's not like a 90 degree perfectly. And also the radius inside is a bit smaller than outside, obviously. So in the end, this fold here, it's got to be more open than 90 degree a little. So I'm gonna tap it to modify it. If I put it flush with the first one, if I put it flush with this tab here, you might see on the other hand that it's got some gap. Yeah, you can tell there's a bit of a gap here. I know it's a bit hard to show on the camera, but so it's a matter of the angle, which is not 90 degrees, it's a bit bigger than that. Maybe I would say like 100. So I just need to tap it some more, modify it until it fits right. Once I got this right, I'm gonna make a line here with the marker and toward the other edge here. So that will define the final square to be cut. So I will cut this line here and the other one here. So I make sharper radius. It's a bit hard to see, but so if I put this thing here with the two flanges like they belong, which is like that, you can see the fit is much better. And I make lines here, here and there, so I know where to cut this thing. So this will go right there. This is a very good fit. I'm gonna line up being perpendicular to that surface here. Same thing, perpendicular to the surface here. So that should be the right piece. So the only thing we'll miss is to try it once more. It's a good thing to just cut that sharp edge so we don't get injured. These are going to be hidden behind. So let's just try this one to see how it fits, and then going from there, if it fits right, we have to check with the nut plate for the thickness of this. Make sure if we gotta go double or just single thickness for that one here. And then it's going to be a matter of making a hole big enough so that the alignment of the boat, of the part that fits in there, has got some room, because we're never going to be 100% target on the location. Nut plates itself just need a round big enough to clear the boat on that bracket, and it's the nut plate that's going to hold it in place in the end. Okay, so if we look at it, fit is pretty good. The only thing is here, there's a little sharp edge, so I'm gonna cut at 45 degrees, not to get injured. And same thing on here, on that edge. So that would be good enough. Now it's a matter of just looking at the nut plate, see how it goes. So as you can see, did a 45 degree here cut out, and here too, to avoid the injuries. I got another brand new nut plate. This is fine enough, because if I push the nut plate in, it clips, it holds in place. So the way to put this thing in place is through pop rivets. So what I have is aluminum pop rivets. So first thing you want to check is the diameter. The one I have are 1/8 of an inch of diameter, and also the thickness of material you have. So these ones are for 1/8 of an inch thick. These ones are for 1/4 inch thick. So in my case, 1/8 of an inch thick is plenty good enough. So the idea is to locate the bracket properly, hold it in place, make a first hole. Be careful, it sounds stupid, but be careful not to drill through your fingers, because it's the best place to hold them is when your finger is right behind, but you gotta know exactly where you're gonna drill, and make sure first you're gonna drill in the middle of the material. Also make sure you're not gonna drill into one of your fingers. So it's getting a bit tricky when you drill the first one. So once you have it in place, you put a pop rivet that's gonna hold it in place a bit. It's gonna help you to do further holes. The idea in an ideal world would be to have maybe 2 rivets on this side, maybe 2 on this side on a diagonal, maybe or this like that. Maybe I'll just be able to put 1 on this side because this tab is bigger than this one. So this is how this thing goes. So up for the drilling of the first pop rivet. Pop rivets, the way they are, you got like a bubble here, and the pop rivet gun is gonna pull on this stud. It's gonna pull it all the way down, so the material here on the sleeve is gonna expand, it's gonna get bigger, and then it's going to squeeze the 2 material together in between the flange here and where this bubble is going to be able to go. Once it's going to get too hard and the bubble is not going to be able to go any further, the stud here will break. For those that doesn't know too much how it looks like for a pop rivet gun, there's here the diameter. It's got to go along with the diameter of the nozzle on your pop rivet gun. It's got to be the same size as it is for your rivets. So there's a different sets of adapters that can be changed. Also, this one's got a swivel head, which is convenient because sometimes you cannot reach all the dimension, all the emplacement the way you'd like to. So that allows you to change your position for installing your pop rivet. Once the part is gonna be, once this bracket's gonna be held in place with all the pop rivets that's gonna go on it, then it's gonna be time to install the piece that attached to it under the car, and try with the marker to make a mark where it's gotta go, and then we're gonna drill the hole in place under the car. This way we're sure that the whole thing is gonna line up properly. So set your bracket like it's gonna go, and you try to see where the flange is gonna be, and you make a line so you know where you got flange behind, where it starts. Also, then you make your hole in a place you got enough material. Then you hold your bracket behind and you hold it firmly in place. You just make a spot drill at first on your bracket, so then you can remove your bracket and you can just make the hole on it. Then once it's there, this is time for the pop rivet. So what you do is you line up your pop rivet in the hole like that. We're gonna have a problem, the gun's not gonna make it there. Yeah. So I've been lucky enough that I was able to go a bit sideways with the pop rivet gun, and it worked. So maybe you want to help yourself and get yourself a bit more room. If there's a side object like this thing here. So now it's going to be a matter of holding it in place firmly and drilling this way. I'm just going to put one pop rivet. I think it's going to be good enough. So once this is going to be done, it's going to be a matter of this is going to be done. In fact, the only thing that's going to be remain is to install the part that attached to it, mark it with a marker, and remove the part, and then drill it and put the nut plate, and that's it. Once you're done, you just slide your pop rivet in the hole. Slide it also on the back. When you use your gun to pull on the pop rivet, you want to make sure to squeeze the tab on behind, because you don't want this thing to pop rivet just the first one. If it happens to you, just drill 1/8 again. The hole is 1/8 of an inch, by the way. So if it happens to you again, you just drill again inside the pop rivet. In the middle of it, you drill 1/8 of an inch, and this should remove the pop rivet. You just take your pop rivet gun, slide it on, slide the stud inside of it. So once it's in, the only thing remain is you want to keep it straight to the surface. You want to pinch the material behind, close to it, and then you squeeze. That's all you got to do. So here it is. The fix is made. That's good enough. Once the pop rivet is done and installed, you hear a bang, like a towel kind of sound, and this is what you're left with, the stud that it's broken here.